How can I list my first product on Amazon? That's what we're covering today. And if you're new here, my name's Dan Rogers. I aim to turn the complex into simple and share online business strategies with you so you can use them. So don't forget to subscribe. I've noticed that we actually don't have an up-to-date tutorial on this topic, and as I've been working on the update for Amazon FBA Mastery, I noticed there's a lot of new things that you need to know. On that note, if you do want to learn absolutely every detail about this business, definitely check out AFM in the description. Some of what I'm going to share here just scratches the surface of what's actually in that program. But here's exactly how you can create your initial listing for any product on Amazon. And remember to watch to the end so you don't miss that one detail that you need later. Let's begin with what you need before you list your product. Number 1, a GTIN for every unique product you're listing. A GTIN is often called a UPC in the US, EAN in Europe, and you can get this from your local GS1 website. I'm going to link this website below. You can simply select your country and then get your codes. 2, you're going to need one product image with a clean white background. 3, your categorization path, so where you're going to categorize this product down to. And 4, you're going to need your starting sell price, so what you're going to start selling this product for. Now, I highly recommend you list your product before you pay your supplier, and that may seem out of place with the process, but keep in mind, this is going to be a bare bones listing. It's not a beautiful built out listing. It's really just filling in the required tabs at this point. But this is the same listing you're later going to build out beautifully and sell your product through. But why should you list early? The primary reason is risk management. By listing early, you're very quickly going to become aware of category restrictions, product restrictions, hazmat reviews. There's also the more current issues of brand name errors. And so by listing early, number 1, you ensure you can sell this product on Amazon. You don't want to have paid a supplier and now you figure out you can't sell this product. And secondly, whether it's a restriction or hazmat review, you're able to provide that documentation and clear that issue within good time. You're not having inventory stuck in the pipeline or that Amazon won't receive at the warehouse because you're now just listing the product and finding all these problems. Okay, with the groundwork covered, let's add your product to Amazon. Log into Seller Central, open the menu toggle, hover over Catalog, and then click Add Products. That opens this page. Now you want to scroll down and click I'm adding a product not sold on Amazon just below the search box here. And on this page, you're going to categorize your product. Now, if you're unsure of the best possible category to choose for your product, check out this video after this one. I'll also link it below. In that, I'm going to show you how to identify the best possible category for your product. But on this page, there are 2 main ways you can categorize your product. The first way is you can do this manually. So you're going to select your classification path, starting with the parent category. Then it opens the next line where you're going to choose the next subcategory, then the next subcategory, all the way down to your final child category. Once you've categorized down to your desired child category, click select. Now the second way to do this is simply by searching your product type. Using the search box, you want to type in the main keyword of your product. Then simply evaluate the returned suggested category paths. You can then click select on your chosen categorization. But this is quite an important step. You don't want to just wing this. Check out that video after this one. It's going to help you not only choose a category based on relevance to your product, but also on competition, giving you the best chance of being the best seller in those categories. But now that we've selected the categorization, we can actually start creating this listing. And at first, you're only going to enter the required info. And this is indicated by these red exclamation circles. As you can see, vital info is one of these. So click vital info, and in here, you're going to want to add in your product ID. Now this is your product's barcode identifier, UPC in the US, or an EAN in Europe. Log into GS1, copy that code and paste it into this field. Then next to this field, you want to open the drop down and select the barcode type. If you know you have UPCs, select that, or EANs. If you're unsure, you can also just choose GTIN here, as that covers all of them. Then we have the product name field. Now this is actually your product's title. At this point, since we're creating an initial listing, we're actually going to keep this to a short phrase that describes the product. And a major benefit of creating this initial listing is to force a canonical URL at this point. A canonical URL is your listing's URL in Google search results. And you can attempt to force this for your listing at this point by only inserting your product's strongest 5 keyword phrase here. The goal of this is that if this is set as your canonical URL, then anytime a shopper on Google types into Google this 5-word phrase or a very similar version of it, then your Amazon listing has a very good chance of being the Amazon result that is returned on the Google search results. In short, your listing enjoys more Google traffic. If you're unsure what to use here, go to your Amazon Marketplace as a customer and begin typing in your product's most used key phrase. You'll notice that Amazon tries to complete that phrase for you. This is Amazon Autocomplete. Based on popularity, you can choose a 5-word phrase that's very fitting for your product. In this example, this one could be a very good option. Another note, I've simply used this 5-word phrase as an example. I do not recommend you use other companies' brand names within your title though. With that filled in, we can move on to the brand name field. Of course, this is where you're going to insert your brand name. But in some cases here, you're actually going to receive an error message where Amazon requests proof from you that this is actually your brand name on your products. You're going to need to send Amazon pictures of your product and or packaging, which visibly shows your brand on that product or packaging. And if you don't have the product with you yet, then ask your supplier to take these and send them to you. There are other rare cases where Amazon actually wants to see your GTIN, your product identifier, on the actual product or packaging. And if this is requested, then you're going to need to send that code to your supplier and have them affix it to the product packaging, take an image for you and send that back to you so that you can pass that on to Amazon. But as you can probably see at this point, creating your listing early is really going to help you deal with these hiccups early. Now in the manufacturer field, you're going to insert your brand name again if you're doing private label. Then we have unit count. Now the unit count represents the number of individually barcoded units that a customer is going to receive when they purchase a quantity of 1 from your listing. Now in most cases, they're going to receive one of your products which features 1 barcode, and in cases like this, the unit count is going to be 1. The only time this is different is when you're selling a set that comprises multiple individually barcoded items together. For example, a box containing 6 different products, each with their own barcode, well, that's going to be a unit count of 6. So the golden rule on this is when a customer purchases a quantity of 1 from your listing, how many barcodes do they receive? And that equals your unit count. Now for most sellers, a barcode is going to be an FNSKU, particularly if you're using FBA. In some other cases, it may actually be the GTIN or product identifier on the packaging. In some cases, you're going to have unit count type. This represents the total amount of product someone gets when they purchase a quantity of 1 from your listing. So if it's based on weight, it would be in ounces. Or in most cases, when it's for discrete units, you're simply going to choose count as the unit count type. So in a lot of cases, you're going to have a unit count of 1 and you're simply going to enter count here. Another note is there are often questions such as, is this product expirable? Where you're going to select yes or no. And as you can see, if we list in a different category, in this case, it's actually called title, not product name. And brand name also looks a bit different. So do know sometimes these look a little bit different. You can also see this has way more required fields. And there's honestly just too many to go through, but I thought I would cover unit count as that's quite a confusing one. Most of these are quite self-explanatory with drop downs. Now before we move on, I want to quickly touch on variation listings. But if you're selling a single product with no variations, then you can skip to this timestamp. But if you're selling multiple versions of a product and you want to have them all on one listing where customers can choose between them, then you want to create a variation listing. Let's say you're selling 3 color variations of a tripod and you have black, white, and red. Each color will have to have its own listing, and each of those colors is a child listing. But then you need one more listing that holds them all together, and this listing is called a parent listing. But with the parent listing, the content of that parent listing does not matter at all. It is simply the glue holding the others together, and whichever child listing is selected at that point in time will be the content presented to the customer on that listing. So in this example, let's treat this as your parent listing and create the parent listing first. You want to click on variations. Then you want to open the variations theme drop down and select your variation theme. In this example, it would be color, and the variation theme is however your variations or your child listings differ. One important note here is that variation themes differ by category. So the category you choose is actually going to impact the variation themes you have available here. And if this is important for you, check out this video where I cover variations in more detail and these themes. And here you can add in the names for your variation themes, and this is what customers will see on the listing when choosing between variations. Next here, click Add Variations. Then within this table, you want to enter a GTIN, remember that's your UPC or EAN, for each of your variations within the product ID field, and also select that product ID type. And a quick side note here is if you've already created your child listings, if they already exist, or you want to take other existing listings and put them into one parent, you can also do that at this point in the process. And to do that, you're simply going to insert the product IDs of those existing listings here. But continuing with this, you want to set the condition to new. You also want to add your price for each of your variations at this point and set the quantity to 1. This works very similarly to unit count. There's also 2 other optional inputs here that you can set your own seller SKU if you wish, but Amazon will assign this if you do not. And you can also choose the color map options in this example. At this point, you'll notice the required emblem is actually going to disappear from the offer menu. And remember, this is because the parent listing is not a purchasable offer. It's simply the glue between your child listings. Next, you want to click on Offer. Ensure your fulfillment channel is accurately selected here, and then you want to click Save and Finish. Now your parent and child listings will be available in Manage Inventory. Note that it does take a little bit of time for these to process. Give this a bit of time and then come back. On the parent listing, click the drop down arrow and it's going to open up and show you all of your child listings that are glued within that one listing. On each of the child listings, you want to click Edit on the right hand side to go to the back end of the listing. Once you're there, you're going to want to input all of the required fields as we're currently going through for each of those listings. The next step here is to click Offer. First, you want to insert your price. Now this is the price you're going to start selling the product for. I recommend you always go higher rather than lower, and this is because lowering a price is much safer and easier on Amazon than raising a price. Select the condition of your product. This is likely going to be new, and you can optionally customize that seller SKU here. Select the fulfillment channel you're going to use. Now if you're doing FBA, you want to choose Amazon will ship and provide customer service. Next, you want to click Images at the top. You want to upload one main image here. Make sure the product fills more than 75% of the image and it has a white background. Then click on Advanced View at the top right. This is also called More Attributes. Next, click on Description. You want to add at least one sentence to the product description field. Then you have Key Product Features, and these are actually your bullet points. You want to add at least one bullet point here. Finally, scroll down and click Save and Finish. you will likely see this message, which simply means you may have to convert your listing to FBA manually. And after creating this, to check if your listing is FBM or FBA, go into Inventory, Manage Inventory, and then focus on this area. If you see a static 0 where you cannot input anything, then your listing is already FBA and no action is needed. If you can input a quantity here, then this listing is FBM and you need to change it to FBA by clicking Edit and then Change to Fulfilled by Amazon. And your initial listing is created. Now, one extra tip here is you can go into any of your FBA listings, click Edit, and Print Item Labels. This is actually going to give you your FNSKUs. Remember, one of those needs to go on every individual product. So now you already have those available and can provide them to your supplier during manufacturing instead of after manufacturing. But even more importantly, you can now have confidence knowing you have an active listing through which you can sell these products. Now, if you want to learn exactly how to optimize listings, how to actually build them out beautifully, all keyword infused, ready to index, check out these videos up here. And remember, if you want to learn absolutely everything in detail about this business, check out AFM in the description below. And if you want to stay ahead of your competition, make sure you subscribe to my channel right now. I would love to have you as part of the community here, and I'll catch you in the next video.